Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, Oxford Maths for Australian Schools, implementing differentiation for F to 6 mathematics. And special welcome to, I'm sure, people from Western Australia. We're a bit ahead of you in time, but it's great to have you on board with us. So we'll just start with an acknowledgement of country. We would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the many lands on which we create and share our learning resources. We acknowledge the traditional owners as the original storytellers, teachers, and students of the land we call Australia. We pay our respects to elders past and present. We also extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples joining us today. And I'm currently on Wurundjeri country, part of the Kulin Nation in Victoria. So we'll get underway. We do have a chat for questions. Please feel free to post them as we go, and I'll come back to those at the end of the session. So I just wanted to speak a little bit about curriculum to start us off. As you know, 2024 is the first year of the new Australian Curriculum version 9 for F to 6 mathematics, although we know that not all states are working to this curriculum just yet. I'll come back to that. So the new AC version 9 aims to create a balance between proficiency and creativity. It promotes the ability to connect maths to other disciplines and aims to develop a positive disposition towards maths in all students. Two key changes from version 8.4 are the strands, which have been separated into single strands, and the fact that the proficiency strands are now embedded in the content across the curriculum. They're not separate. So Oxford Maths for Australian Schools supports many aspects of the new AC version 9, including making connections, being creative, having a positive attitude to maths, finding fun and enjoyment in maths, as well as comprehensively covering the content and the curriculum outcomes. So I wanted to show you how Oxford Maths for Australian Schools addresses our curricular links for our various states. We know that, all states except New South Wales fundamentally use the Australian curriculum as a base, and some have different versions of that. So in Oxford Maths, we offer curricular charts for every year level, showing a variety of links. So we have AC version 8.4, so the previous version of the Australian curriculum for Queensland, because that is what they're still using at the moment. And then we have version 9, which is what they'll go to next year. We have Vic version 1 and 2 for Victoria. We know they're currently using version 1, but moving to version 2 in 2025, and that is very similar to the AC version 9. And for Western Australia, we currently show the Western Australian Curriculum 8.1 and the Western Australian Judging Standards as well. So we know that Western Australia is moving to a new curriculum very soon. I think we're expecting that to drop in the next couple of weeks, if not days. So we'll be doing an updated alignment ready for familiarisation with the WA curriculum in 2025 and ready for implementation in 2026. So that's something to look forward to. So next I wanted to talk about our authors for Oxford Maths for Australian Schools. We have two lead authors, Annie Facchinetti, who is currently Head of Literacy F to 6 at Xavier College in Melbourne. And prior to that, Annie was a maths leader for many years at Our Ladies Primary School and also a classroom teacher with more than 20 years experience. Annie's passionate about differentiation and ensuring that every student experiences success in every maths lesson. We also have Brian Murray. Brian's a classroom teacher from the UK, but currently resides in New South Wales, where he has more than 25 years experience in primary classrooms. Brian is passionate about making connections and applying skills and understanding in real world contexts, so really making those connections between maths and the real world. Next, I'd like to talk about the development behind Oxford Maths for Australian Schools. Annie Facchinetti would normally present this section for us, but unfortunately she's unable to join us. She is quite ill at the moment. So I'm going to use Annie's notes and speak for her this afternoon. So Annie took time out of the classroom in 2016-17 to develop Oxford Maths for Australian schools in conjunction with Oxford University Press. So it's a whole school maths program, F to 6, based on a differentiated approach to teaching the Australian curriculum. We know that differentiation is basically taking account of significant differences among students in terms of their ability, their rate of learning, their language proficiency, literacy and numeracy skills, and then using this knowledge to adapt the way the curriculum and the learning activities are presented to them. It needs to be used together with effective evidence-based teaching methods to be really successful. And these methods, when skillfully implemented, ensure that almost from the start, all students can have a really good crack at understanding concepts, information, and the skills that are being taught to them. And thus, every student can experience success at their own level. So I wanted to talk about some of the research behind the Oxford Maths program. Annie's extremely interested in evidence-based pedagogy and knows that maths teachers have a large and long-standing base of knowledge to draw on. And she also often points out that this evidence, continues to change. We continue to learn more. The science of learning continues to change. And in that way, we're all involved in the science of learning. We're all scientists to some degree. So some of the publications referred to here are available as resources on your webinar screen, and you're more than welcome to access them. One of the main reports that Annie used to develop Oxford Maths was a Grattan report from 2015 on targeted teaching. And Annie followed three key tenets from that report. First, that teachers need to identify learning needs and adapt their teaching in response. Second, that before they teach a topic, they need to understand what the student can already do and is ready to learn. And thirdly, as they teach, they need to check how the student is going and provide tailored feedback or support to address obstacles or misconceptions and help the student stay on the right track. Oxford Maths follows a gradual release of responsibility model in research from 2021 that identifies effective teaching practices for all learners. So again, three key tenets that Annie used. Number one, clear teacher demonstrations of concepts. Number two, guided and scaffolded practice opportunities leading to independent practice. And number three, supplying corrective feedback along the way. Oxford Maths also incorporates some of John Hattie's work on visible learning, so it allows for flexibility and it values teacher judgment in the classroom. In fact, Annie always reminds us that evidence of learning is much more than just test scores. It should include what a student can write, make, do and say, as well as what they can't. So teacher observation, judgment and understanding is crucial to good learning. Annie also used some Oxford University Press research when developing Oxford Maths. So in 2022 and in 2024, OUP conducted small group research with teachers to investigate what we call the skills gap. According to respondents, as students progress through primary school, the gap in mathematical skills and knowledge gets wider, as they go up the year levels, with most classes from years 4 to 6 experiencing a 3 to 5 year ability span between their lowest and highest achievers. This means some students in your year 6 classes could be working at a year 3 level, while others could be working at a year 9 level or even higher than that. So I'm sure you'll all be familiar, with the problems that this poses for everyday classroom teaching. We know that this gap also persists as students move up through the year levels and into secondary school, and it can have a huge impact on student engagement, confidence, and anxiety levels. So building self-confidence at a young age is really critical when it comes to maths. If students don't see themselves as successful learners of maths, they are less likely to engage with the subject as they continue their school journey into secondary school and beyond. We really want to avoid maths anxiety. We know that this carries over, even into adulthood for many of us. And Annie will always say, if you ask an audience who's not good at math, who's not a good reader, a few hands might go up. But if you ask the same audience who's not good at maths, you'll get a much bigger show of hands. So allowing students to experience success in maths is a part of a lifelong attitude to maths learning and good outcomes, and really needs to start in our primary years. We've just got a quote from one of our respondents here that you can read through. I'm sure this will ring true with many of you. And it certainly summed up Annie's classroom experience and really helped to spark her interest in differentiation too, of this kind of a situation. So we really want students to experience success, but we also want teachers to feel successful. We know that the challenges around differentiation can really make teachers feel like they're not doing a good job for their lower learners or their higher learners. So Oxford Maths has really been designed to support teachers in managing differentiation, which in turn increases teacher confidence and satisfaction too. You'll see that we are running a poll on this webinar, and at this point, we'd really like to invite you to list some of the challenges that you find in your classroom every day, whether it be behavioural, whether it be issues around the skills gap. If you'd like to enter those in, we'll come back to those at the end of the webinar and have a look at those results. So in summary, the Oxford Maths approach is based on the understanding that primary teachers really need comprehensive resources to support differentiation while covering the curriculum at the same time and leading to success for every student at their own level. Oxford Maths provides a structure that allows teachers to manage the classroom as well as manage the teaching of mathematics. And this makes a huge difference, not only to student success, but to teacher confidence and success too. So we'll have a closer look at Oxford Maths for Australian schools in terms of resources and how our program works. Every year level has a value pack made up of a student book and an assessment book. The look and feel of Oxford Maths as a series is designed to be clear and engaging, with appropriate use of language so literacy doesn't become a barrier to learning maths. I'm sure you can tell from our beautiful covers here that that's what we're aiming for, that really engaging approach to learning maths. We have value packs, our third edition of Oxford Maths, available now and aligned with AC version 9, as I said. And they were published late last year for use this year with the implementation of AC 9. We also have practice and mastery books and student and teacher dashboards that go along with the value packs, and we'll get to those in a moment. So just looking a bit more closely at the student books, they follow a topic-based approach that supports sequential acquisition of skills, concepts, and knowledge. We supply a term planner for every year level to ensure a logical sequence of teaching and learning, but this is editable and can certainly be reworked to suit an individual class or a whole school scope and sequence. We also supply the term planners for composite classes, so F1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, and 5, 6 to help support those really tricky composite year levels. So you'll see on the contents page there that we follow that unit and topic-based approach, grouping all the topics by strand. But as I said, you certainly don't work through that from woe to go. The term planners support you in the best approach to the sequence of topics. As we said previously, the student books follow the gradual release of responsibility approach. So you can see on those internal pages that we have a modelled example to introduce every concept, followed by a guided, independent and extended page or pages with activities to support students at all those three basic levels. So below standard, at standard, and beyond. Not every student is expected to complete every page of an Oxford Maths student book, and we provide a template for a letter to parents and carers about this, because we know that can be an issue for some parents and carers. They're wondering why not every page has been filled in. But the book has really been designed to cater for those 3 ability groups. So you might have some low-level students that complete guided practice and some independent practice, and you might have some higher level students who jump straight to independent practice and extended practice too, and that's perfectly fine. So as I said, the value packs comprise the student book and an assessment book for every year level. So the assessment book mirrors the student book exactly for each year level in terms of the sequence of topics. The assessment books have a pre-test and a post-test for every topic. The pre-tests are designed to provide a quick and easy snapshot of where a student is at in terms of prior knowledge and ability for a particular topic. And the post-tests are designed to measure learning and growth. And we provide an assessment grading guide for the post-tests because the questions are weighted in terms of difficulty. Teachers use the assessment books in various different ways. Some work through them as a group, some hand them out to individual students and then collect them. Others put them into small groups on the students' tables. They work through a pre-test together and then they swap and mark each other's. So they're really flexible with the way that they can be used in the classroom. And then, as I mentioned, we have our practice and mastery books. So these can be used for revision or homework as well, or for extra project work or extra class work. Again, they're organised by year level, strand, unit and topic to mirror the student books exactly. And they feature practice and challenge activities for independent and extended learners, and then what we call mastery activities for further application of math skills and understanding. So a practice page basically provides reinforcement of skills that are learnt or mirrored from the student book. For example, you might use the split strategy to solve 68 minus 35. The challenge page allows students to apply the basics to relevant problem-solving activities. So, for example, use a strategy of your choice to work out the difference between 6,428 and 4,325. And then on the mastery pages, the student's able to complete activities that connect their mathematics skills and understanding to other areas of the curriculum or to use them in real-world contexts. So, for example, a student might be given some tables that list countries with the smallest populations in the world. And then they'll be asked to find out Australia's population. And then they're asked, what is the difference between Australia's population and the country on the list with the smallest population? So they're really building on those initial skills that are outlined in the practice and challenge sections and moving on to some really interesting real-world mathematics. So how does the program work? Differentiation in action. So as a start, you would use the pre-test to determine every student's prior knowledge and ability for every topic. And then using this result, you can divide your students into 3 basic ability groups: support, at standard, and extension. Now, these groups can and will change for every topic. We know that some students are better at number than measurement. Other students are great at data or geometry and not so good at number. So that's why we have a pre-test for every topic, so that you don't have to keep your students in the same group for the entire term or year. Once the students are in their ability groups, you can support them with instruction, resources and activities to meet their own point of need. And then finally, you can use the post-tests to measure their results throughout a particular topic. So you will find all the learning resources, the teacher notes and the student resources on our teacher dashboard, which is on Oxford OWL. And we've got a short video just to show you now to give you a short tour or taste of the teacher dashboards. So you log into our Oxford OWL homepage, which looks like this. And once you're logged in, you'll see your Oxford University Press library with any products that you have from us. And we also have subscription products in there, and we also have supporting materials. So there's Oxford Maths, and we're going to log in to Year 6. And you'll see that down the left-hand side, you have contents and topics listed there, and you can navigate using that list of contents as you like. So you've got access to the book online, the student book, and there's various functionality there. You can take notes, make notes, you can bookmark. There's a dictionary function as well. You'll see some of the functionality happening on the screen at the moment. You can also search by page or keywords. And then under every topic every page, in the student book, you'll find all the related resources, or you can flick back to that resources tab. At the top, we have teacher resources, so planning and assessment resources there. You'll see some of the resources that I've spoken about. And then you can also use our Mark book, which is the third tab. So you can search by unit or topic, and you can track and record results here, and also create PDF reports of students' results. So you'll see that there's a recording section there for post-tests, practice quizzes, and pre-tests. And you can also add custom assessments there too. So if you wanted to create a project or a poster or a test of your own, you can add that to the Mark book, and you can also add the students' marks for that. Just showing a bit more functionality there. Again, with the bookmarking and dictionary functions. And then when you're finished working within the teacher dashboard, you come back to the library page there. So that is our teacher dashboard, home for all the teaching and learning resources. And I thought I'd show you what our teaching notes look like within that teacher dashboard. So the Oxford Maths Learning Sequence offers preliminary information for every topic in the student book. So we list out curriculum links, a learning intention, success criteria, a list of materials that you might need, and they're always common classroom materials, nothing too difficult. And we also cover any potential difficulties that you might run into within a topic. Each topic then begins with a daily practice session to introduce the topic, and then pre-assessment using our pre-tests, and then the teaching sessions, which include introduction, instruction, and consolidation, followed by post-assessment. So there's a clear and consistent approach for teaching every topic, and we have instructions for whole class work, small group activities, and individual work, plus those three main groups: at standard, support, and extension group work. So you might be working with your at standard group with some hands-on activities, while your support or an extension group work within the student book. Or for the next topic, that might flip, or the next session, and you're doing hands-on work with the extension group, while the other two groups are using the student book. We also offer some Oxford Maths Ready notes online, and these are pre-learning instruction notes. So they're to help prepare struggling students and bridge the gaps before you start a topic. For example, if you have a group of students who really aren't familiar with the language of something like 2D shapes or 3D objects, you can use the Oxford Maths Ready notes with a learning support teacher or with a parent or with yourself to just prepare them with some activities and instruction to get them used to the language of that topic, and have them ready to go when it's time to tackle the project with the whole class. So here's just a snapshot of some of those resources that we mentioned. You'll see the Oxford Maths Ready notes at the top there, where it says for number and algebra place value. You'll see that we also provide all our answers online. So for the student book, the practice and mastery book, for the tests, and for anything like activity sheets that also have answers. Our term planners are there. And you'll see there's also a potential difficulties video there. So For every short section on potential difficulties within the learning notes, we also have a video where Annie points out some of the pitfalls of this topic, and the videos only last about 30 seconds, and she gives you some hints for getting through any common challenges that might crop up. We also have interactives, which can be used to introduce a topic. They can be used at the front of class, or the students also have access to them. Some of them are fun games, others demonstrate a topic. They're really great, and I'll show you one at the end of this session. So we also have something we call our mastery tasks. They're not part of the learning sequence, they're an extra resource, but they've been really popular with some of the schools who've used Oxford Maths for a while. They're very engaging and enriching, real-world problem-solving activity opportunities. So these are written by Brian Murray, and I've just provided a little quote from Brian here to give you a flavour of the mastery tasks. And you can see he's really passionate about connecting to real-world situations. So they can be used by individual students or in small groups or even as a whole class project. And they're good for extending students or fast finishes as well. But they're structured with a low floor, high ceiling approach. So all students in your class can attempt them. And again, your struggling students might not get beyond the first page, whereas your extended students might get right to the end of the sequence of activities. And that's totally okay. So yeah, teachers find these really enriching, and we've had great feedback on these. We have a school in New South Wales who told us about the mastery task that's on the Fibonacci pattern, where they had students bringing in flowers and counting petals for quite a long time after they finished the mastery task, and they really enjoyed it. So they're a great fun way to keep your students engaged with maths and developing that really positive attitude. So we have student dashboards as well as the teacher dashboards, and the students can log into these quite easily using a number, colour, and animal. They don't have to have an email address. And this is where the students can access all the content of the student book online as well. So you'll see in the top middle snippet that when a student logs on, they'll be presented with an online pre-test before they can access any other resources. Once they do the pre-test, their result will flow through to the mark book on the teacher dashboard, and you'll automatically see whether they're categorised as support at standard or extension. You can use the mark book to change the result. You can manually change it. You can input the result using the pretest in the assessment book if you prefer, or you can add a note or an observation or a custom assessment. So once the student has taken the pre-test online though, the rest of the resources for that ability group will flow through, and that's the image there on the top. And they'll have access to a practice quiz at their level, plus all the resources they need for that topic, plus the post-test. So again, if you were to change their ability group in the mark book, that would refresh and again supply them with the correct resources for their level. You can see an example of a question there from one of the online tests. At the moment, they're all multiple choice format, so they're slightly different from the tests in the assessment books. And you can also see there that the student will have total access to the student book online as well. Oops, I've gone one too far. So we'll pause here and we might show you that an example of an interactive that I talked about. So these are designed to support the teaching of the concept right at the beginning, or some of them like this one are fun games as well, which the students can do alone, or you can do these at the front of class. So in this one, you can see that the echidna is using factors and multiples, or factors in this case, to get to the ant at the end. So we made a mistake there, and you'll see that the screen refreshes with another option and you can play the game again. So this is typical of most of the interactives. They'll present a variety of situations or options to help work through a concept at the beginning, and you can see what you get wrong or what you get right, and you can attempt another question or the same question again. So this time our echidna is doing much better. There we go, success. The echidna is going to get to the ant. So just a really fun, engaging way to work on a topic or to present an introduction to a topic. So I think we are going to invite one of our sales consultants to talk now a bit about our relationship with Matific that also offers a sort of third dimension to Oxford Maths, if you like. Yes, we have Louise with us, so I'll hand over to Louise for this. Oh, Louise, just check you've got your microphone on. I'm not hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's perfect.
Lovely, thank you. Sorry about that. So thank you. We have a partnership with a company called Matific, and Matific publish a Oxford Maths aligned version of their product, and a product that aligns with the Australian curriculum. It offers differentiated activities and is a wonderful and engaging resource for additional practice, whether that's in class or at home. They do offer free trials of their resource, so if that's something that you're interested in, you can reach out to your consultant and we're happy to arrange that for you.
Great, and I will also show our pricing information.
Thank you. Yes, so the Oxford Maths Value Pack includes both the student book and the assessment booklet. They come packaged together for $28.95 each. And when you purchase that either as a class set or you're book listing it, you do get free access to the teacher and student dashboards. So there's no additional cost for those digital resources when you're purchasing the books for classes. There is obviously the additional Practice and Mastery book for $18.95. And for any classes not using books, you do have the option to subscribe to the teacher dashboard as well. So that's a per teacher license, an annual license.
Fantastic. So I will just put up now a QR code if anyone needs that to connect with our education consultants, please do. And also wondering if we had any input to our poll about challenges in the classroom. So yes, we can see we have got behaviour and engagement along with planning lessons. Yes, so hopefully Oxford Maths supports you with those really clear, consistent lesson plans. So once you've got that covered, you've got that little bit more time and energy to deal with the classroom issues. We've also got behaviour, the skills gaps, different literacy levels. Yeah, we know that literacy can be a real barrier to teaching maths. So especially in our younger years of the program, we really have tried to take that into account using really simple language and a minimum of language. Obviously, when we get to year 5 and 6 and when we get to the mastery tasks and some of the high end of the practice and mastery book, we do need to use a certain amount of language, but we've certainly tried to keep that in mind. Planning for differentiation. Yep. So our whole lesson plan rests on those 3 key groups to try and make that easier for you. Students' behaviour. Hopefully we're offering a program that's big on engagement, which can often help with behaviour. Keeping the students focused. Again, delivering them activities at their own level so that those students who are struggling aren't going to drift off, and those students who really need some, something extra have their needs are being met as well. Yeah, lack of support staff, definitely. And the time students take to finish tasks, that's a good one. And assessing students using the judging standards and having enough evidence to show that they can achieve that level consistently. And I'm sure, we were talking about how students have different abilities for different topics too. So you can certainly add to the assessments that we give you if you need to do that. And we certainly have PDF reports from our mark book that hopefully you can use easily to help inform your reporting. Yep, students who are getting bored. So our mastery tasks and practice and mastery books hopefully are really good for that, with that really engaging real world maths. Yeah, again, we've got two ends of the spectrum. We've got so many comments. And the intellectual stretch for all students. Yeah, so, part of our student book setup is that flexibility. So your support group may only try that guided practice, but then they can move on and try the independent practice or try the extended practice. So they can stretch themselves, and they're not limited to a certain level either. Yeah, differences in exposure of some concepts. So hopefully our term planners, provide a good sequential learning map for that, because, obviously, it is hard to tackle some topics without some study of others first. Difference in ability and behavioural problems. Kids wanting to do it on the computer, over-reliance on calculators. Yeah, that's interesting. So we've tried to strike a balance between our print components and our digital, so that hopefully you can help manage that. Engaging and extending students, age-appropriate language. Yeah, and managing behaviour. Really, really great comments. These are all things that Annie, as a classroom teacher, has experienced, and Brian. So they are definitely things within our program that we have tried to address and tried to support you with, for sure. I'm not sure if we have any other questions beyond those comments. It doesn't look, I'm not seeing any. Bryn, just let me know if I'm missing them, but I'm not seeing any questions here. So I think, maybe we've covered those in those responses to the poll. And I guess what we would like to stress is that we think Oxford Maths, or we know it supports students, but we also believe that it really supports teachers with that clear, consistent approach. Our feedback is that inexperienced teachers or less maths confident teachers can use the program very well. It steps out everything you need to do, and that frees you up as well to help deal with some of those classroom challenges that you receive. Oh, I have seen a question here about accessing the evaluation pack. I think we have added that on to the webinar handouts here, but if not, you can access that on oup.com.au. You should be able to get it from there, or again, please contact one of our consultants and they'll get that to you. And I'm not seeing any more, so that might just be it. So hopefully the session has been interesting for you and supportive, and please do get in touch with our consultants if you have any further questions. And thank you for attending after what I know is always a very busy day in the classroom, and have an enjoyable evening to come. Thank you very much.